Facts are stubborn things, and whatever may be our wishes, our inclinations, or the dictates of our passion, they cannot alter the state of facts and evidence. Liberty, once lost, is lost forever. The longer I live, the more I read, the more patiently I think, and the more anxiously I inquire, the less I seem to know. A government of laws, and not of men. A government of laws, and not of men. I am a mortal enemy to arbitrary government and unlimited power. I must study politics and war that my sons may have liberty to study mathematics and philosophy. You will never be alone with a poet in your pocket. Posterity. You will never know how much it cost the present generation to preserve your freedom. Power always thinks it has a great soul and vast views beyond the comprehension of the weak. Old minds are like old horses, you must exercise them if you wish to keep them in working order. The preservation of the means of knowledge among the lowest ranks is of more importance to the public than all the property of all the rich men in the country. The right to freedom being the gift of God Almighty, it is not in the power of man to alienate this gift and voluntarily become a slave. To believe all men honest would be folly. To believe none so is something worse. Government is instituted for the common good, for the protection, safety, prosperity, and happiness of the people, and not for profit, honor, or private interest of any one man, family, or class of men. I always consider the settlement of America with reverence and wonder, as the opening of a grand scene in design and providence, for the illumination of the ignorant, and the emancipation of the slavish part of mankind all over the earth. The die was now cast, I had passed the Rubicon. Swim or sink, live or die, survive or perish with my country was my unalterable determination. The moment the idea is admitted into society that property is not as sacred as the laws of God, and that there is not a force of law and public justice to protect it, anarchy and tyranny commence. There is danger from all men. The only maxim of a free government ought to be to trust no man living with power to endanger the public liberty. I pray heaven to bestow the best of blessings on this house and all that shall hereafter inhabit it. May none but honest and wise men ever rule under this roof. The jaws of power are always open to devour, and her arm is always stretched out, if possible, to destroy the freedom of thinking, speaking, and writing. I must not write a word to you about politics, because you are a woman. Abuse of words has been the great instrument of sophistry and chicanery, of party, faction, and division of society. A representative assembly is to the legislature what a jury is to the courts of common law. It should be an impartial depository of the common reason of the whole people. Public business, my son, must always be done by somebody. It will be done by somebody or other. If wise men decline it, others will not. If honest men refuse it, others will not. A boy of 15 who is not a Democrat is good for nothing, and he is no better who is a Democrat at 20. The form of government which communicates ease, comfort, security, or, in one word, happiness, to the greatest number of persons, and in the greatest degree, is the best. Government is not reason, it is not eloquent, it is force. Like fire, it is a dangerous servant and a fearful master. Great is the guilt of an unnecessary war. Our obligations to our country never cease but with our lives. I always consider the settlement of America with reverence and wonder, as the opening of a grand scene in design and providence. Let justice be done though the heavens should fall. There are two ways to conquer and enslave a nation. One is by the sword. The other is by debt. The preservation of liberty depends upon the intellectual and moral character of the people. The moment the idea is admitted into society that property is not as sacred as the law of God, and that there is not a force of law and public justice to protect it, anarchy and tyranny commence. Democracy never lasts long. It soon wastes, exhausts, and murders itself. Children should be educated and instructed in the principles of freedom.